Hi, welcome to the Crochet Sneakers tutorial part 1. This is the kit from Taobao. Please check Temu or Amazon for similar products. The yarn is a very thin cord and I use crochet hook 2 millimeters. On this sole I have some markers in the front, on the sides and in the back. But it's quite easy to find them even if you don't have these markers. I will measure it for you in inches and centimeters, so it's about 4.5, a bit less inches, and it is about 11.5 centimeters. So if you have this marker and these measurements really correspond to your markers, insert your hook into this hole right to the side marker and slip stitch. So I will place 3 single crochets into the next hole, and this is the pattern for the entire first row. I will place 3 single crochets in every hole I have on this sole. This is how my stitches look like. I also have this insole which I remove for better grip. I arrived at the end of the row now, so I'm placing 2 single crochets into the very first hole I pulled the yarn through. And once I've done that, I will slip stitch into the first stitch I made. I'm sorry for the camera view, I didn't really notice that. So at this point you just can leave these ends of the cord loose because you will put the insole on top of them. I cut the white cord because I want to introduce a new color. Insert the hook into the exact same hole I just did the slip stitch into, and then I pull the new color of my cord. And I take the short end with me, so I will crochet it in. Now I'm going to crochet single crochets until I reach the back of the sole. That is how my row looks like. I will not finish this row, I will stop right where I am. So I count from the middle of my heel 5 groups of 3 single crochets. Now I align the other side and I also count 5 holes, 5 groups of 3 single crochets, and I place my hook into that spot, and this spot will be always right between the holes of the sole. I slip stitch and then I will crochet until my marker, skipping the previous row. So I will crochet over this row. I don't know how this pattern exactly is called. Maybe if I find it later I will add it into the description, but if you just know how some people crochet baskets, this is exactly the stitch they usually use. So here is the last stitch and I'm going to go into this space, and I also take the loop I have on my marker and I pull the cord through all the loops I have on my hook. So this is the first row of this hill. Now I keep placing 3 single crochets, and I stop right between the sole holes again, and I place my marker into this loop to secure this loop. And like in the previous row, I take the cord with me, so I will crochet it in, and I start on the next side, skipping 2, and I insert my hook into the 3rd stitch, and it is also right between the holes on the sole, between these groups of 3 single crochet. From this point it's a bit tricky to explain. Maybe it's better if you just watch what I'm doing. So I slip stitch, and now I need to think about how to introduce the new pattern. So I will not go over 2 rows here yet, to start this domino pattern or zigzag pattern. I don't know how to call it correctly. So, but not from this side. We will start that on the other side. So for now, I'm just going in with the single crochets into the previous row. 1, 2, and 3. And I keep working in single crochets until I reach my marker. Here we go. I'm closing in, and in these last 3 stitches I go the first stitch over the row, the next into the previous stitch, and the last one again over the previous row. Then I take the loop I have on my marker in and pull the cord through all loops I have on my hook. So on this side, on the left side from the heel, from what we're doing now, I already start this domino zigzag pattern, and these were 3 first stitches. Now I do 3 single crochets, and I land again between the holes on the sole, between these groups of 3 single crochets. Place my marker, take the yarn with me, and I again start into the 3rd stitch from the previous row, from left to right, so between these 2 groups of 3 single crochets. All right, so here I go in also over the row now, because I have enough rows to do that. So 1 is over, next is into the previous row, into the previous stitch, the next one again over the row, then I go into the previous row, the next stitch, and from 1 more over the row here. You start seeing how the pattern shows up slowly. And from this point I'm going every single stitch over the previous row. So I'm grabbing the previous row all the time with every single stitch. I will work this stitch until I align this row with a previous similar row, and after these 5 holes, this pattern stops, and then I continue the zigzag pattern. Okay, so I have single crochet into the previous row, the next one over the previous row, the next one in, and the 3 next will be over, in, and over again. Alright, I grabbed the loop on the marker, and now I'm pulling through all 3 loops I had on my hook. Next I work 3 single crochets again, and will place my marker. What I like about this pattern, it is multiple free. It means you can easily do the math, what kind of stitches go at what time. I placed my hook into the 3rd stitch. Now I slip stitch, and then I place my next stitch over the row. Then in, the next over again, in the row, and then again I skip the previous row, and the next one into the row. So you alternate like that all the time. Just be very attentive to what you're doing. And from this point I will continue doing the single crochets. Here is how the pattern is showing up. Yeah, so over this heel I will go in with single crochets only until I reach this zigzag pattern again. Okay, here we are, and now we start matching the stitches. So here I place the long stitch over the row, then I place a short stitch into the previous row, again the long stitch, then the short, the long one, and the short one. And I don't like when the cord twists like that, so I like to fix it right away. The last 3 stitches, the long, short, and long. I take the loop from the marker as I did before. I will keep repeating that all over again in every upcoming row. Here you can see how I introduced the new pattern, and it is looking good so far. So I place 3 single crochets and I land into the next space between the holes of this sole. I placed marker and I move to the other side again. Please keep aligning your sides so that you will not have to unravel your work to fix some mistakes. Again, third stitch of the initial row, slip stitch, and then I will match my pattern. So I do the long stitch over the previous row, and a short stitch into the previous row, then the long stitch again. Yeah, the more rows you add, the more clear it gets how these patterns mix with each other. And from this point I start matching my zigzag pattern all around the hill. So the next stitch here is a short one, yeah, I'm just double checking if I'm doing that correctly. It doesn't hurt to go ahead and, you know, redo a small portion instead of unraveling a few rows. So far so good. I'm matching it nicely. Yeah, so the next stitch is over the row, the following into the row, and I will continue like that for the entire row now until I reach the marker. I will be working in the same pattern for a while. Here I show you how I finish this row, so I'll also match my stitches, and if all goes well, then it just happens naturally. If something went wrong, then you will have to figure out where the mistake was, or if it's still possible to just align and match your stitches the way it will alternate nicely. It can take some time until you figure out how this pattern works the best way for you. And in case you have some tips and tricks and hacks of how to do that in a better way, please leave a comment and we can have a chat. And again, 3 single crochets, end of the row. It looks nice. So far so good. I like how it is turning out. And I will work into the same pattern for a few more rows, and I will show you where you will need to stop doing that. I will work the same rows, the same pattern, 2 holes before I introduce the new color. So 2 holes to the right from the marker on the sole. That's how it looks so far. I have 2 more holes left between where I stopped now and where I first introduced the new color. And I will not go back at this point. I will place single crochets for the next I think these are 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th is here, the slip stitch. Yeah, so I joined in my color. Now I need to align that with the other side, so I will skip 1 hole and we'll work into the following one. So here it is. I'm not working into the next, but into the one after this one. Yeah, so I skip 1 hole. I do slip stitch, and then I need to figure out how to incorporate the stitches to match the pattern. So the first one, I go over the row, then into the row, then I will go over again, and this is the way I match my pattern from this point. It might look complicated and a bit tricky, but once you start, I believe that you will figure it out pretty quickly. I continue working in this zigzag pattern, and from this point I will not need to return to and fro until I finish this how to say, this first big detail, big part. Yeah, I arrived at my marker again, and I keep matching the stitches. Okay, now I place only single crochets as I compared it with my other shoe, and that was the spot where I stopped doing the over the row stitches. So from this point, yeah, I place the marker to indicate the beginning of the row. And now I go around the front with only single crochet stitches. Yeah, I'm about to join in this row. Yeah, I finished my single crochets, same ones, and then I start with the pattern. Yeah, so the first one here is the stitch into the previous row, and one next is over the row, then again into the row, and then over the row. This is how I connect the only single crochets with this zigzag pattern. So I'm not doing any decreasing or anything else, but I need to match these stitches which go over the row in a way that they move like that. Yeah, that they move to the heel side. And the front is only standard single crochet stitches. That was my last row. I'm about to join in this row. Okay, the last stitch goes into the stitch with a marker in it, and now I make a knot. In the front I had 4 rows, and that is going to be enough for now. I will not cut the yarn, but I need to secure it. Yeah, so I need to make a knot. Here it is. The first big part of the crochet sneakers is now done, and I'm happy to see you for the next part.